Hey guys, welcome to another video on my channel. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at this weekend's test server. So one of the weapons which we are testing this weekend is the Vortex, and this is the first time I've actually tested this weapon. First time it's actually been on the iOS test server, so this is going to be interesting to see how well this weapon does. Essentially, the Vortex is a medium version of the aphid. Same range, same reload time, so 350 meter range, 10-second reload time. And the mechanics are all the same. It looks slightly different though, the missiles. If I can get close here to one of these players, you can take a look at that. I actually prefer the orange tinge of it over the aphid, so I definitely like that. And I also like the animation of the barrels when it's reloading, because the aphid you don't really have that, but this is kind of cool because it reminds me of the ʀᴏ. Trying to see if I can get some damage in on this player. I've run a couple of games with this weapon, and it doesn't seem like it really does that much damage. You can see there, I'm trying to knock down the Ansel shield on this ʀᴏ, and there's no ways I'm going to break it, not with this weapon. I'm firing both of them to knock it down quickly, and still I'm not able to break it down. So that kind of gives us an idea of the strength of this weapon. But you never want to say buff this weapon just like that, because what I do need to take a look at too is the aphid. So what I will probably do is run the pattern and the Jesse aphid builds just to see how much damage the aphid does now, because if it does the same amount, then you can't say obviously to buff the Vortex, but you don't say anything about the aphid. That's when you create problems in the game. So that's why I'm gonna run 2 games. In the next game I will include the aphid, just so that we can make that comparison. But right now, just judging from the amount of damage I'm getting in here, it doesn't seem like much. I'm hitting that Leo there. I'm gonna get taken up by the Redeemer, which is another new weapon we are testing this weekend. I have it on my Lancelot right now, so if I can get close you'll be able to see that. And I did a separate video on this as well, so I'll probably put a link to that in the video description so you guys can check that out. And we actually also tested out the Gust weapon. I'm trying to focus down this carnage here, because the Redeemer goes all the way through. And why is this guy just standing there? I guess he crashed or something. We're all waiting behind cover, but this guy's not doing anything. Then we realize, oh wait, he crashed. Let's take him out. So yeah, the other weapon that we are testing is the Gust, and the Gust is a light version of the Thunder. So I'm going to be able to link you with that video in case you missed it. Trying to see if I can get some shots in on these players. They have a lot of Lancelots there. Wow. What's kind of funny is that most of my damage seems to be actually coming in from the Redeemer rather than the Vortex weapon. Trying to see if I can maybe I can lob some of these Vortex missiles over there. See, I managed to hit that player, but it wasn't really doing that much damage. I think when it comes to actually testing the Vortex, what you want to do is, first of all, you want to run the maximum number of Vortex weapons on a robot. So that would be the Doc. And one test that I usually look at for such a weapon is how much damage does it do to a moving target, and more specifically, how much damage does it do to a target that isn't moving, because that is an indicator of the strength of the weapon. But if you take a look at how much damage I did there, that's another test too, is just firing it at someone who has an energy shield. on the live server, I believe a pattern with 4 aphids or a jessie with 4 aphids is able to actually knock down the energy shield of an Ansel. So if you aren't seeing that, then let me just destroy my bot here. If you aren't seeing that kind of damage, then you know that maybe this weapon needs to be buffed a bit. But what I'm gonna do in my second game after this is to actually run the jessie and the pattern just to see how much damage that does, because that's gonna give me an idea of, you know, have they nerfed down the aphid for whatever reason. You know, you can't say to buff the to buff the vortex when the aphid does a similar amount of damage, because in that case you would have to buff the aphid too. So those are the things that I'm looking for in this game. Looks like we've got a player back there. Yeah, so this player, I'm guessing some of their players might have dropped because they seem to be short-handed. So I'm trying to see how much damage this does, and it really isn't that much. You saw that Griffin to my right, he jumped, he fired, and this guy still has quite a bit of health. It's even there. And we're talking about 3 vortex weapons here. Trying to get closer to this player so that I can get him maybe on the side here. And you see how much damage I did there? He wasn't even moving. So something needs to be altered to this weapon to allow for a little bit more damage than what we see. Maybe the damage that is being inflicted, or at least per missile, is actually correct. Like, you don't want them to buff it. Maybe the accuracy needs to be improved. Let me just spawn in here with my dock. Okay, so we do have a butch waiting behind this hill here. And let's fire all 4. So this is sort of equivalent to a jessie with aphids, but now you have a dock with vortex. And I fired 4 of them. It didn't really do that much damage, as you can see here. Oh man, that on the other hand did. But that was strange because, you know, it looked like he got hit by 4 and it did a lot more damage there. Okay, so there we go. So is it a matter of maybe having it be a little bit more accurate than what we're seeing? Maybe the amount of damage that we see is fine. Maybe it's the accuracy that needs to change. But yeah, that looks like that's going to be game number 1. So what I'm going to do for game number 2, as I said, is to run a jessie and a pattern aphids, and then we can make that comparison. And what I may also include is just some footage of the, you know, the pattern or the jessie aphid on the live server, hopefully hitting an energy shield so we can make some sort of comparison in terms of overall balance. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run game number 2. Hopefully I get a different map, and hopefully I see a lot of energy shields out there so that we can, you know, fire at those energy shields and make a comparison between that and the live server. Okay, so game number 2 we have dropped in on power plant map, and this time around I'm going to start off with my jessie aphids. So that actually did a sizable amount of damage to that player's energy shield back there. Kind of has me wondering now, you know, just back up here because they have a ʀᴜᴛ and I'm not sure what he has. He's backing up. Trying to see if I can get a little bit closer here. Let's see if we can move to the left side where there's a little bit more cover. I'm not sure what this player's in, but let me try to see if I can hit him with some aphids here. So I'm basically taking a look to see how much damage I do with aphids over, say, the vortex weapon, and whether aphids too also don't do as much damage. But you know what? These aphids seem like they're actually doing more damage. I don't know if it's just me, but maybe you guys can let me know what you think in the comment section Does it look like these aphids are doing more damage than the vortex? Or does it look like it's the same? I'm not sure what this player is doing. Did he crash? He might have crashed. He's not moving. Maybe that's why it's doing more damage, is because he's not moving. So let's see if we can move around here. Man, this Fury is in my way. I'm trying to lob it over so that I can hit that player back there. Let me try to see if I can hit this this butch up top here, because he's a pretty good target. Yeah, even aphids don't really seem like they are doing that much damage when I'm comparing it to, you know, their performance. Whoa! See, we got to back up here. Now I'm getting hit from this side. Oh man, this is not good. I've got to get out of here. I'm just waiting for my aphids to load up. We're gonna hit this guy. 1 shot, 2 shot. Man, they have a lot of they have a lot of Furies back there. This guy sees me now, so I'm gonna launch my aphids here. See how much damage that does. See, that does quite a bit of damage. So I don't know if it's just me, but it seems almost like aphids do more damage. Look at that. I mean, that's a pretty sizable chunk. Let's try this. I don't know if that was from me, but that player took quite a bit of damage there. Let's see if we can hit this guy. Oh! Man. He doesn't even know what's going on. I think this is the player that crashed. Let me just see how much damage that does. I'm gonna give this player some flowers. Ooh. Special delivery. Aphids seem to be doing a decent amount of damage. I mean, not a ton, but it seems like it does more damage than the vortex. I don't know if it's just me. It kind of seems that way. See if we can get around here. We've got a couple of players who are stacked up behind that building there. I'm trying to hit them. That was weird. I think I was actually aiming for another player, but I ended up killing the guy that was standing beside him. Maybe another guy will pop up here. This player here, I believe, crashed. So let's just take him out. I'm gonna fire just as he lands, so it should hit him now. See, that amount of damage there is about right for the aphid weapon. So maybe what they need to do is they maybe need to change the accuracy, I think, of the weapon. Just based on what I'm seeing here. I'm trying to get close to this Fury. He knows what's up. There's gonna be some flowers with your name on it. Uh-oh. Yikes. So that amount of damage right there is, I would say, where it needs to be. When we take a look at the vortex weapon, you don't really see that kind of damage. And I don't know if it's just me, but it's just, that's how it seems like. What I'm going to actually do is, after this game, I'm going to be running a game on the live server, because we are able to at least see the amount of damage that, say, the vortex does when it hits an energy shield versus aphids. So that should do it, I think. Yeah, I think it does, because there was a player back there who crashed, and if he has 5 bots and I killed his the one that was behind cover back there, it should be 4. So that's about right. Okay, and that's with me running those 2 builds, the aphid builds. So that was with the Jesse aphids and the pattern aphids. I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me what you think. Does it look like aphids do more damage than the vortex weapon on the test server? Let me know in the comment section below. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try get some footage of the aphid performing on the live server, and that is maybe with either pattern or Jesse. And I'm going to target down someone who has an energy shield, just so that we can kind of make that comparison. Okay, so what we have here is a test of me firing 4 vortex weapons onto a Carnage, its energy shield, and as you can see, I do a little bit more than half damage to that energy shield, not a lot of damage. So what I decided to actually do here, I was running this test with Ben. Actually, if you haven't yet checked out his channel, make sure to do that. He does a lot of these comparison videos, which can be very interesting, and a lot of cases can be very surprising too. But getting back to this test, what I actually did was I ran a pattern aphid, and I did the exact same test as I'm doing here with the vortex weapon. But with the pattern aphid, I was actually able to knock down his shield almost entirely. There was a bit of health left, but for the most part, you can clearly see that the aphid does do more damage than the vortex weapon, which is kind of what I had suspected. So now we know for sure that it actually does do more damage. Once we had actually done this test, what I decided to then do was to go onto the live server, and I ran my pattern with 4 max aphids, not Mach 2, so just Mach 1, level 12, going up against his Carnage, level 12, Mach 1 as well, not Mach 2. And from that footage, we actually saw that the pattern aphid was able to knock down the Carnage shield completely. So if we kind of compare the two, we can actually say that on the test server, the aphid has been slightly nerfed, more incrementally based on what we see. So I guess the question really is, does the vortex weapon need to be buffed? And the answer is yes, because aphids do more damage than the vortex weapon based on, what we can visually see. So definitely that needs to be buffed up. But other than that, let me know your thoughts of the vortex weapon. What do you think of that weapon? What do you think of the design? If you had the vortex weapon, what robot would you put that weapon onto? So I'd love to know your thoughts on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I guess until the next video, I'll catch you guys later.